What's happening, everybody? It's Thomas DeLauer. Video is going to be kind of a rapid fire. Does this break your fast or does it not break your fast? We had great success with the last live broadcast that just went a little bit faster. So ordinarily my live broadcast would be insanely interactive, sometimes to the point where it's annoying for people. I'd still like to do those. I still like to interact, but I'm going to go somewhat rapid fire because there's a lot of different things that I want to cover on this video. What this is going to be a simple, does it break my fast live broadcast? So I've got a list of 39 items that I've compiled, and I will be honest, I struggled to find 39, but I know that there's so many different ones out there, and people always have different questions regarding what breaks their fast and what doesn't. So we're gonna have some fun with this. And what I encourage you to do is after this broadcast, make sure you utilize the comment section to post different questions that you have on items that break a fast. And I'll do a follow-up video on this. Perhaps we can make it kind of a fun series. So the cool thing is, big thing we have to know, big picture about this in general. A lot of things will break a fast, but the biggest thing that we have to factor in is, does the positive effect of what we are consuming offset the potential negative aspect of it breaking a fast? Simple terms, if something is 5 calories, but it has such a powerful effect that it actually enhances our fast, perhaps it's worth the 5 calories because the net benefit of the fast is better. So we're not going to have insane amounts of biochemistry in this. We're going to make it pretty simple, make it fun. One thing I do ask, please hit that thumbs up button. Please hit that like button because that helps this video get out to all the subscribers, all the people that want to see it. We all know that YouTube is a different ballgame now. And even with over 2 million subscribers, you're not going to reach all your people. It's just the way it is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and have some fun. First one I'm going to start with, one that you probably all know is good for fasting. Still have to start off with it because it's basic and it's simple. Black coffee. Black coffee is good to go on a fast for 2 key reasons. One, caffeine is going to help stimulate what is called lipolysis. It helps stimulate mobilization of the fatty acids out of its storage form and into the bloodstream. When you have the fatty acids in the bloodstream, they become a lot more readily available to be utilized for fuel. Not only is this tremendous for fat burning, but it's tremendous for energy, and it's tremendous for all the different energy sensors that pick up on the fact that you're utilizing fat. Once your body is utilizing fat as a fuel source, during a fast, it's not just that you're losing weight. No, you're getting hormone signaling effects. You're getting all these different sort of gene expression things that are going on that are very, very positive and very powerful. Okay, so black coffee is powerful in that sense. The second reason is the polyphenols in coffee. Literally the polyphenols, which are just like the plant extracts, if you want to call them that, are powerful at inducing autophagy by themselves. Now, if you're new to fasting, you may not know what autophagy is. Autophagy is the cellular recycling that occurs during a fast. Autophagy is a phenomenal thing, very powerful. And what it does is it takes old, wasted parts of cells and it basically cannibalizes them, consumes them. The cells consume the wasted old parts of cells and turns them into energy. Okay, so it basically gives the cell a survival of the fittest component. Well, coffee, because of the polyphenols in coffee, induce autophagy as it is. So that alone is going to boost your fast. Hey guys, don't forget to comment where you're watching from as well. Even if I don't get to reply and say hello right now, it's always fun to go back and see where people are watching from. And please do hit that share button if you know people that are fasting that might get a kick out of this. Black tea. Let's move on to the next one. Black tea, not as good as black coffee, because black tea, the main benefit that we're getting from black tea is really just the caffeine. Okay, and some will even say that the tannins that are in black tea counteract some of the enzymatic processes that are elevated during a fast. Does that mean that black tea breaks a fast? Black tea does not break a fast. It's okay on a fast. It's just not as good as black coffee, or the next one we're going to talk about, green tea. Green tea, yes, caffeine, tremendous. But 2 things that make it very cool for a fast. One, theanine. Theanine is in green tea, and what theanine does is it helps calm your mind a little bit. What this does is, for purely psychological reasons, but also some physiological, helps you get through that fast a little bit better. Okay, it helps you deal with it. It helps you cope. Okay, it makes you a little bit calmer, cooler, and collected. I use theanine in green tea when I'm filming and I'm fasting because I like the energy that fasting gives me. But sometimes my brain is going too fast. You can probably see it in some of my videos when I start going a little off. It's nice to be able to be calm and focused and collected that way. The other thing is, when we are fasting, the main benefit that we are getting is coming from our body sensing that we are in a state of calorie deprivation. Okay, yes, the fat burning thing is great, but what's happening is our body says, oh, we're burning our own source of fuel. So it activates a different pathway called the AMPK pathway. Okay, AMPK, I want you to think of as just a simple energy sensor in your body. It's just like a sensor in your car. It recognizes when fuel is low, so it initiates different processes. This AMPK pathway is very cool and is what we want activated during a fast. It just turns out that there's a few journals that have published studies that show that green tea itself activates the AMPK pathway, so it's great in a lot of different ways. Okay, does it break a fast? No, indeed, it does not. It helps. Okay, herbal tea, common one. Does herbal tea break a fast? If it has the little chunks of fruit and the little chunks of flowers in it, which you can sometimes see in the tea bag, it's better safe to assume that it will break a fast. There usually are a few grams of carbohydrates in those, and I don't usually recommend it. However, I am okay with things like chamomile tea, like some lavender tea, things like that to help you calm down, help you go to sleep at night. Because sometimes when you're fasting, it can be pretty difficult to fall asleep. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit there. Hey guys, I know it's a Saturday, so I don't expect a ton of people on this broadcast right away. I probably expect more people to hop on later on when they see this in a review. But if you can, please do hit that thumbs up button and then also hit that share button too. That does help us out a lot and just does me a solid favor by getting this ranking higher with our audience. Okay, next up, Bulletproof Coffee. This is where you take coffee, you combine it with butter, you combine it with ghee, coconut oil, MCT oil, you name it. Yes, indeed, it breaks a fast. And some of you might be saying, well, duh, okay, that breaks a fast. But believe it or not, it's a very common question. And it's rightfully so, because a lot of people have marketed keto coffee and bulletproof coffee as a fasting friendly beverage, when in reality, it has 300 or 400 calories in it, depending how you make it. That in no world is fasting friendly. Now, the only exception could be if you are doing what's called a liquid fast, where you're just consuming liquids and you're trying to give yourself a little bit of a digestive benefit. But remember, even though there's a lot of benefits to a bulletproof or keto coffee, it definitely breaks a fast. It does not send you into that deficit that we need, that AMPK pathway activated. Okay, in no world other than an exceptional liquid fast is bulletproof coffee or keto coffee okay. That being said, if you fast frequently, bulletproof coffee is a great way to just have a, quote, substitute breakfast and feel like you're fasting, but just know that it's not officially a fast. So you could have bulletproof coffee one day and then the next day legitimately fast. Then have bulletproof coffee for breakfast the next day, then legitimately fast. Wow, okay, this is great. I'm seeing the audience is growing a lot. Live broadcasts are always hard to get a lot of people on, especially on a Saturday. So thank you all very much. If anyone is having questions, you can always go back to the beginning of this broadcast and watch the recap. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go on down the line. The next one is a popular one, is bone broth. Does bone broth break a fast? Again, yes and no, but generally speaking, yes, it breaks a fast. There's calories, there's a good amount of gelatin in it. The gelatin involves digestion, creates a little bit of gastric juices, which by default would slow down what's called the migrating motor complex within your gut. It starts peristalsis, which is the grinding, the motion of the gut that's digesting food, which in turn turns off a lot of the fasting processes. However, I've done specific videos talking about bone broth fasts. There are forms of fasting where you're legitimately consuming bone broth as your sole source of fuel. That's an exception. I will say bone broth is tremendous to break your fast with, or at least as a precursor to breaking your fast. A lot of times I recommend, hey, if have it 30 minutes before your actual physical meal of breaking a fast. It's perfect for that. But there's still calories in it. We're still talking 40 to 100 calories, depending on what's in it. It still involves digestion. It's still going to get the pancreatic enzymes going. It's still going to have a little bit of a beta cell response. So yes, technically it breaks a fast. So be careful with that one. Next one, sorry, I got my list here, vegetable broth. Vegetable broth is going to be in the same category, although it is a lot closer to just being a brine. Bone broth is phenomenal stuff when it comes down to the gut mucosal layer, when it comes down to all the stuff. I love bone broth and it's great, but because it's harder to digest, because it has a little bit of fat in it, because it has that extra protein collagen, it's more difficult, whereas vegetable broth or stock, it's more like bouillon. Like if you were to take a bouillon cube and break it down into some hot water, I'd be hard pressed to say that that's really going to mess up your fast. But then you have to ask yourself, what are you trying to get? Is it just the flavor? Because you could really cross that same bridge by just having some hot water with a little bit of salt in it, to be completely honest. And that's not going to break your fast, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Another one I wanted to mention that's kind of a random interjection because I noticed that some people have commented about it, B vitamins. B vitamins are not going to break a fast. But you have to ask yourself, do you really need them? Because B vitamins aren't going to help you unless you have food that's being metabolized and glucose metabolism occurring. Okay. All right. Next one comes up, diet soda. I know that there's some people here watching this wondering if diet soda is going to break their fast. Diet soda depends on the sweetener that's used. I have to be, I have to be totally forthright with you when I say this. I don't like aspartame, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of that artificial sweetener that's in Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi and things like that. It's called aspartame. There's quite a bit of evidence showing that it's an excitotoxin, that it isn't exactly the best thing for you. That being said, it doesn't have any metabolic response. So out of all the sweeteners, not counting stevia and monk fruit, out of all the artificial sweeteners, I should say, aspartame is actually the most fasting friendly. But again, you ask yourself the question, do you want that poison in your body during a fast when the ultimate purpose is cleansing, right? So just bear that in mind. You're not going to break your fast by having a Diet Coke, but you're certainly going to trigger a lot of different cravings psychologically, and you're probably taking 2 steps backward and 1 step forward, if you know what I mean. Okay, now that brings us into the next one, which is, you know what, actually I should talk about a couple other diet sodas. If you get diet sodas that are sweetened with stevia, like Zevia, that's an okay one to do. If you get other ones that are sweetened with sucralose, which we'll talk about in a minute, does marginally break a fast. So we'll talk about that as we move on. Okay, next up in the line is going to be gum. Gum falls into the same category. Okay, most gum is sweetened with aspartame, which means technically it doesn't break a fast. However, what are you really after once again? Okay, there's a lot of natural flavors. Natural flavors are going to be a question mark. Okay, because natural flavors can have up to what are called incidental additives. They can have 150 different incidental additives in them. So we don't ever know, because there's no way for them to disclose it on a label, and the FDA doesn't require disclosure of it, what those natural flavors are. Okay, so even artificial flavoring, natural flavoring, though that can contain calories, pure and simple. So gum, you have to be careful. There's a gum out there called Spree, S-P-R-E-E. I've seen it at Whole Foods. I don't know much about them other than what's in it. Or maybe it's Spree or Spry. Maybe it's Spry, S-P-R-Y. Anyhow, that's a really good one just because that one is not sweetened with any kind of aspartame. So that one would be a little bit better for you during a fast. And I understand it. Like, you're not eating, you want to be able to chew on something, totally get it. And then that kind of falls in the same category with breath mints. A lot of breath mints, first of all, gum, you're not ingesting much physical material. Okay, with breath mints, you're actually dissolving a physical material that's constituted with, some kind of binder, right? So if you take a breath mint that is artificially sweetened and doesn't have sugar in it, you're still digesting and ingesting like the actual physical component of the breath mint. Okay, which means it could be some form of a starch, it could be a cellulose, it could be a gum. You're just ingesting it, and that involves digestion. So I highly recommend. Someone says I'm talking way too fast, and they make a bad reference saying that I'm on something. Anyway, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to get through a list here. I can't win, people. If I go slow, then people say, hurry up and get through the list. If I talk too fast, then okay, maybe I'll just talk like this and see how many people leave the broadcast. Maybe. Anyhow, okay, so that's the case with the breath mints, all right? So then we move into spices, okay? Cinnamon, cayenne, any kind of spices like this. I divide them into 2 categories when it comes down to the spices. We have herbs, where you're like ingesting actual herbs, oregano and things like that. You're ingesting the leaf, right? That, you're getting kind of granular, no pun intended, but that's kind of ingesting something. Is it gonna break a fast? Not really. I mean, you're talking a marginal amount, like negligible amount, maybe 1 or 2 calories at the most. But then what are you getting out of that that's really getting you a benefit? Okay. Cinnamon, I think, is good to go. And the reason I say I think is because, yes, it has a couple of calories, but my opinion on cinnamon is that because it has something in it known as a methyl hydroxychalcone polymer, let's see if I remember that one, it mimics insulin within the body, so it can actually help lower blood sugar and get you into that fasted state even faster. So cinnamon can be your friend, especially towards the end of a fast. Then we have something like cayenne, where technically it's the ground pepper. So technically you're ingesting a pepper, right? So are you breaking a fast? In some eyes, yes. But again, the positive benefit of ingesting something like cayenne, the thermogenic response, the capsaicin or capsaicin, potato, depending who you are, where you are, is going to be powerful for you. It activates thermogenesis in the brown fat. It activates mitochondrially dense brown fat tissue. Okay, so it can help you utilize fat more. So I think for the sake of this video, I want to give you something conclusive. Stay away from the herbs and things like that during a fast and lean more towards the spices, okay, like the cayenne and then maybe like the cinnamons and things like that. Then we got, okay, common one, tobacco. Does tobacco break a fast? You know, the interesting thing is even smoking tobacco probably has a metabolic effect. Okay, you're activating that nicotine pathway, which is definitely doing something with your metabolism. We have various ways that we activate that, even through typical nutrient metabolism. It's going to activate that same cycle and that dopamine cycle within the brain. Does it metabolically actually break your fast? Digestively, no. Cellularly, Krebs cycle, yes, there's a little bit of activity there. Chewing tobacco definitely breaks a fast because you're ingesting a good amount of it, so be careful with that. Vaping, that's a tough one. Honestly, there's no real conclusive answer on that, so I'm sorry I can't give you anything there. Vitamin C, does it break a fast? So it doesn't break a fast digestively, but it does kill the benefits of a fast. And the reason that I say that is fasting, we are after what is called a hormetic response. We're after a hormetic stressor. Okay, we are stressing ourselves out by fasting on purpose so that the cells become more resilient, so that our tissues become more efficient, and so that our bodies adapt. Vitamin C is a tremendous antioxidant. And although it's tremendous and good to use after a fast, during a fast, it's cheating. It's giving your cells a break. In fact, there is a study, I can't remember which journal it was published in, but I've talked about it in a few videos, where they actually found that autophagy was inhibited and cellular adaptation was inhibited in those that took vitamin C during a fast. So it's better off just to save your vitamin C after you break a fast anyway, because then it's going to help combat what's called superoxide dismutase, combat some of the free radicals, reactive oxygen species that occur after you break a fast. Okay, moving on down the line. Vitamin C, now let's get into some other vitamins. We've got fish oil. Fish oil does indeed break a fast. There are calories in it. One typical soft gel is still 10 to 15 calories of pure polyunsaturated fats, pure fish oil. Good oil? Absolutely. Good for a fast? No, it's good after your fast. Okay. Any kind of omega-3 is going to be an oil, as well as omega-6 or any kind of oil soft gel should not be taken during a fast. It should be consumed after your fast or directly prior to. Okay, those calories institute pancreatic lipase or initiate pancreatic lipase, sorry, and that's going to trigger your fast to break. It's going to stop that AMPK pathway. I will go ahead and say just for a second, guys, you'll see a link down below for Thrive Market. Those of you that are watching this broadcast probably watch my channel all the time, so you've probably heard me talk about Thrive, but I did want to give them a big shout out because I've been able to create some cool fasting products with them. This isn't to push specific products. I'm just saying that if you're interested in what I eat after I break a fast or before a fast and things like that, if you use the link, but please do after you watch this broadcast, because I'm going to share some other stuff with you and you can get some of the things I actually talk about. Use that link down below. It can take you to Thrive Market, and they're an online membership-based grocery store. So especially right now when the grocery stores are either not exactly the safest place to go to, or B, annoyingly having lines out in front, it might be a really convenient thing to use Thrive Market to get your groceries. So highly recommend you check them out. They are a big supporter of this channel, and I know some of you are rolling your eyes because I'm doing this right now, but that's how this channel stays alive, and they are awesome, and I've got some awesome partnerships with them. So heck yeah to Thrive. Check them out down below in the description. Now, moving on. Okay, so now we get into magnesium. Magnesium is one of my favorite things to take during a fast. No, it does not break a fast. It's actually very, very awesome for breaking a fast, or for during a fast and for breaking a fast. Benefits to both. During a fast, it is going to help relax your muscles. but it does not relax what is called the cardiotonic effect of fasting. That means that it works on a very distinct pathway within the muscles to keep you calm, keep your muscles feeling good, but it doesn't stop the positive stress that your heart is getting during a fast with adrenaline or adrenaline. Point is, magnesium might actually make your fast quite a bit easier. So I do recommend you try it out. I usually am a fan of dimagnesium malate, which is a chelated form that digests pretty slow. Anyhow, there's a lot of different magnesiums. Just don't get magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide. Magnesium citrate is going to make you run to the bathroom. Magnesium oxide is just garbage. Okay. Guys, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button too. Okay, we got 1,000 people on this broadcast and only 400 thumbs up, and I have a hard time believing that 600 people are just having a terrible time right now. All right. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday, by the way. Amber's finally getting a little bit of time to go get her hair done a little bit. She's got the just had a kiddo 9 weeks ago, and we've got a toddler, so it's been a little bit crazy during this crazy time. And Tommy is taking a nap in the other room. Probably noticed a pattern with my live broadcasts, almost always going during his nap time because it's the time that I can catch a break. And this is what I do on my breaks. Anyway, then potassium. Potassium, same boat. Okay, got to remember magnesium, potassium levels, they go down during a fast. Okay, but they only go down at the serum level. They don't necessarily go down in the aggregate. They go down serum level, and then they move over to the cellular level. Okay, and that's going to make it so that you can basically, for all intents and purposes, at the blood level, you're deficient, but in the cellular level, you're not. But you should still keep your blood level stable so that when you do break your fast, you don't have this crazy ion exchange. What that means is potassium's good to go. Sorry, rambling. Salt. Salt, also good to take during a fast. As a matter of fact, it's not only not going to break a fast, it's going to, again, help keep your blood levels of salt stable so that you don't have this crazy effect of osmolarity. Okay, the law of osmolarity means that when you have salt that is going into the cell but is not in the blood, you're having this crazy imbalance. And if that ever does flood the other direction, it causes this massive membrane damage of the cell that can make you feel like garbage. Okay, hang on one second. My wife's been texting me off the hook. I want to make sure everything's okay. I'm laughing because I thought it was an emergency or something. Because when I get a lot of, you guys know that family, if you get like 5 texts in a row, you check it. It was just saying that a couch that we've been getting delivered from Wayfair has been delayed 3 times now. It's been 4 months since we ordered it. So I was not paid to say that Wayfair is not good, but they're not very good. Anyway, I move on. Okay, then we move into stevia. Okay, stevia is definitely good to go during a fast. But one thing to keep in mind is the little packets of stevia have maltodextrin in them, and the maltodextrin will break a fast. So try to find a stevia that is either pure stevia or a liquid version of stevia. Okay, stevia drops are great and things for that, things like that. Moving into monk fruit even better, but use extra caution because a lot of monk fruit sweeteners also have erythritol in them, which is nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with erythritol. It's fine, but it's not fasting friendly. Okay, I don't like erythritol during a fast. It's not the best. It does cause some digestion. Erythritol is interesting because it doesn't really go through passive diffusion like other sugar alcohols do, but it goes through, it actually absorbs into the bloodstream and it absorbs into the urine. So it's excreted via the urine. It's a weird thing. And it's okay during a keto diet or anything like that. I'm not anti-erythritol, but it's not good for a fast. So monk fruit that is also sweetened with erythritol is not the best during a fast. I talk about Lakanto all the time. Lakanto, like their granulated monk fruit, is with erythritol. Don't use that during a fast. Okay, but the liquid monk fruit, which they do have too, is great during a fast. By the way, that's in my Thrive box. I told you some of these things are in my Thrive box. So if you use that link down below for Thrive Market, you can find that monk fruit liquid sweetener, pure liquid. It's just straight liquid and monk fruit and water. Okay, moving on down the line, allulose, another tremendous sweetener for keto or for low carb, but not keto friendly, excuse me, not fasting friendly. Erythritol we already talked about. Sucralose, big question with sucralose. Sucralose has demonstrated in studies to trigger what is called a cephalic insulin response. A cephalic insulin response means that the pure sweetness of sucralose triggers the pancreas and the beta cells within the pancreas to produce insulin. It is sort of a adaptive mechanism for the body to say, we've got sweet stuff coming in, let's get the insulin process started before this glucose gets ingested. So it thinks that it's glucose. Sucralose does this, aspartame does not. And if I had to weigh the two out, I would probably take sucralose over aspartame as far as toxicity goes within the body. However, sucralose is not good for fasting. Aspartame is okay. Now, that being said, sucralose is also not exactly good for the gut biome. A couple of different studies show that it can kill off up to 50% of your existing gut bacteria, which is definitely not something good. Hey guys, please do hit that thumbs up button if you don't mind. Would really appreciate that. Also, by the way, I did put another link in the description. This video isn't necessarily sponsored by them, but they're awesome. I don't know if you guys know the Zero app. If you've ever heard of Zero, it's a fasting app that uses a fasting timer, things like that. A lot of this, does it break your fast? We actually have in specific series on that app. It's not my app, but I have a lot of videos on that app. So check out Zero at the App Store, and you can check them out, the Google Play Store and everything like that. I know a lot of people probably use Zero. So it's great for different variations of fasting timers. It sounds very simple, but the community aspect of it is what's really cool. Totally free app. Just do recommend you check them out. Okay, moving on down the line, fat burners. Fat burners depends on the fat burner that you're using. Most of the fat burners that are out there are usually just caffeine and a couple other random things to make you feel like you're burning fat. That's the idea behind a fat burner, okay? To make you feel like you're burning all this energy and burning all this fat, when in reality, you just have extra energy, which will help you burn fat if you utilize it. Fat burners are only good if you exercise or utilize what you're getting from them. So will it break a fast? It depends what's in it, but most of the time, a fat burner is not going to break your fast. In fact, a lot of the time, the components that are in it are actually beneficial to a fast. What you have to be careful of is liquid fat burners and powdered fat burners that have different amino acids in them, because a lot of amino acids will break a fast. Now, as we get down the line, I am going to talk about BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, which I know me talking about this alone is probably stimulating that thought. So stick with me. We'll get through that. And I've got a few more to go. We're a little over halfway through this list. You guys are awesome, by the way. This is a nice little broadcast for a Saturday. Adaptogens. What is an adaptogen? An adaptogen is something like mushrooms, like reishi mushroom or lion's mane. I don't mean literally going to the store and eating a mushroom or picking one. Please don't just randomly pick one out of your garden unless you know what you're doing. That'll be a very interesting fast. But it's the mushroom extracts like lion's mane and reishi and chaga that we see a lot of, like adaptogens, but also things like ashwagandha, maca root. These are adaptogens because what they do is they trigger homeostasis, they trigger hormones to balance, and they've been used in Ayurvedic medicine and everything for a long time. They're really cool things, but do they break a fast? Usually there's no metabolic response. It almost operates like almost like a supplement in a way, or a vitamin or a medication. So yes, they're okay. Because a lot of times I talk about taking coffee that has lion's mane in it to boost a fast, like 4-sigmatic, which I talk about in my videos all the time. So like lion's mane coffee, chaga coffee, ashwagandha is okay to take during a fast. Rhodiola rosea is okay to take during a fast. Definitely okay with that. Moving on, heavy cream. Probably been answered somewhat by now, but heavy cream does break a fast. Okay, there's calories in it. Especially the casein proteins are hard to break down, and those saturated fats that are in it are definitely not fasting friendly. If you had to rate the fats that are the best for a fast and the fats that are the worst, anything saturated is not good during a fast because the hydrogen bonds are so tight and those carbon chains are bound with hydrogen. It makes it so that your body has to create lots of pancreatic lipase to break them down. This is definitely going to stop a fast. Okay, so heavy cream has those saturated fats, has the conjugated linoleic acid, things that are very difficult to digest and definitely break a fast. Which leads me into coconut oil, also saturated fat, lauric acid, which is an MCT oil, technically an MCT, but also categorized as a long chain fat. Don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but it does indeed break a fast. That being said, once again, yes and no to some degree, because coconut oil, I have done coconut oil fasts before, where I go 2 days and only consume coconut oil. There's two benefits to doing that. The lauric acid, the MCTs, yes, they're great sources of quick energy. They help your body produce ketones a little bit more, so you get that histone deacetylation inhibition effect. That's positive as far as the hormonal response goes. But then also we have a good degree of the lauric acid, which converts to monolaurin and is very good for your gut biome. So it's a good gut restoration effect. So I encourage you to try that out every now and then, but it's not a typical fast. Do 24 hours of only having, I don't know, a tablespoon of coconut oil for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You actually feel pretty good doing it. MCT oil falls within a very similar category. Yes and no to breaking a fast. Again, Dr. Berg talks about MCT oil, and he says that it doesn't break a fast. It depends on what your goal is. Again, if you want zero metabolic impact and zero digestive load, avoid the MCT oil. If you're trying to create ketones and you're trying to get maximum ketone levels during a fast, then yeah, it could make some sense. Okay. Moving on down the line, exogenous ketones. Do exogenous ketones break a fast? They don't break a fast, but what they do is they step in front of the benefits of a fast. Remember, the benefits of the fast don't necessarily come from the ketone production. The benefits of the fast come from the AMPK activation, what's PPAR alpha, PGC1A, which is these different gene expression that occurs that triggers different cascades of processes in the body. That's what we're really after, not necessarily just the caloric deficit or the ketone production. So exogenous ketones give your body a form of fuel to utilize instead of the fuel that you could be burning endogenously. The exogenous means it's coming from the external. Endogenous means it's created internally. Whenever possible, we want to prime our body to create it internally. It helps out a lot more just for the overall benefits of the fast that we're after. So exogenous ketones safe for after your fast or the days in between your fast. Flavor extracts. Now I say this like vanilla extract or raspberry extract or anything like that. If they are 100% organic, natural flavor extracts, I'm okay with you using them. So if you wanted to put that in your tea or put a little bit of like liquid raspberry or liquid or vanilla extract in your iced tea, which by the way tastes good, it'd be okay. Just make sure it's 100. I say organic because there's no natural flavors that have a metabolic effect that are organic on the market presently. So if it says it's an organic flavor, it's usually good to go. I could be mistaken because things change all the time, but as of about 6 months ago, that was the case. Moving on down the line now, natural flavors. I say natural flavors because you see a lot of beverages that have, quote, natural flavoring. This comes right back to what I talked about before, okay? Natural flavors has a lot of gray area. Are there some natural flavors that are truly, genuinely good natural flavors that will not break a fast? Absolutely. Scouts honor, they are out there, okay? It's just hard to determine which ones they are, right? The downside of natural flavors is that there's so much wiggle room, 150 different what are called incidental additives that can be added to natural flavors that the FDA does not require disclosure of. There could be even some toxins and carcinogens in there, and they're in such small amounts that they're allowed to have them. On one hand, I understand why, because there's not enough resources to police all of that. But on the other hand, come on, that's dangerous stuff, and it really upsets me. Point is, you got to be really careful with natural flavors. You can almost email a company if you really like something. For example, let's say you really like a beverage during a fast and it has natural flavors in it, and you're just concerned. Go ahead and email the company, contact them, and ask them what they're using as a natural flavor. Sometimes they will tell you. Okay, moving on down the line, flavored coffees falls into that same category, okay? So a lot of these coffees have like vanilla flavoring in them, and they're flavored with natural flavors. So you have to look, like the inexpensive Keurig type ones, yeah, those are usually garbage. But then there's some coffees that are really good quality, organic Peruvian coffees, things like that. Thrive Market, once again, has some really good organic flavored coffees. They're using good organic flavoring in there, just like a little hint of vanilla. That's not going to break your fast. Please do, by the way, also, speaking of Thrive, if you're just hopping on this broadcast, check out the link down below. That is going to take you to Thrive Market, where you can check out my intermittent fasting bundles, my keto bundles, things like that, where I assemble groceries into specific boxes so that people can get what I would get at the grocery store. Online membership-based grocery store, super easy. No more going to the grocery store, just gets delivered to your doorstep. All healthy, good stuff. Keeping going here, flavored coffees we just covered, and apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is good to go, all right? I'm going to have a lot of people that say it's not because there's a couple calories in it. The benefit of apple cider vinegar, even if there was 20 calories in it, would far offset the negative aspect of it having a couple calories. Okay, not only do you get the benefit of taking the load off of digestion a tiny bit, which is one of the first steps towards getting into a deeper fasted state, it also is one of those foods that upregulates, again, that AMPK pathway I talked about. Good stuff when it comes down to activating the different gene expression or triggering the gene expression that we need for the positive effects of a fast. Okay, plus modulates blood sugar. That's probably the most widely known effect of the acetic acid that's in apple cider vinegar. Common question that comes up, I take a breath for a second. Do you need to worry about getting apple cider vinegar with the mother? No. No, I love Bragg's apple cider vinegar. I love those guys. I love the sweet lady. I love Patricia. She lives in Santa Barbara, which is not far from me. I've met her numerous times. I've been to her ranch, the Bragg, whole enterprise. The mother, I have to say, I love you guys, but the mother just doesn't matter that much. It's a little bit of bacteria, a little bit of probiotic effect that you could get the same way eating some sauerkraut. It's just not worth it. And if anything is going to potentially break a fast, it is the mother. So it's almost like you want to let the apple cider vinegar settle a little bit and not worry about drinking the cloudy stuff at the bottom and just get the vinegar and some of the extract that's coming out of the top. Lemon juice, because I usually say enjoy some cayenne pepper, some lemon juice, and some apple cider vinegar at the beginning of a fast because it helps you out, helps get the digestion going. A lemon does have a few calories, so it is in that gray area. I don't suggest having it a lot. I think a little bit of lemon-infused water is fine, like soaking some water with some lemons, totally fine. You're not getting a huge benefit, mainly the pectin, which is going to help delay some of the gastric emptying and possibly make it so your fast goes a little bit easier. Hey guys, we got over 1,000 people on here, about 700 people liking this thing. Can you please smash that thumbs up button? It's not just for my ego, I promise you. It does algorithmically tell YouTube that I am not spamming people and that this is good content. They look at how many people watch the video, how many people like it, things like that. Trust me, I'm more mature than caring about it for validation. I don't care about that. I just want people to see the content that need to see the content. Moving on, collagen. Collagen peptides do break a fast significantly. They, in fact, involve a lot of digestion. The collagen matrix in our body is very difficult to break down. And one would even argue that taking collagen orally is actually difficult because in the first place, let alone during a fast. So I'll just keep that one simple. Collagen, yeah, don't bother with it until after your fast. It is tremendous after a fast, though. Very good after a fast. Okay, then we go into powdered creamers. The reason I say powdered creamers is because a lot of people talk about different creamers. I think I've made it pretty clear that it has some calories in it. Probably don't want to be having it during a fast. But powdered creamers are commonly talked about because they're usually MCT powder or coconut milk powder and things like that. They do break a fast. So I know this is a little bit lame for me to say this, but I just had to do this whole video and explain it. Yes, they break a fast. Pre-workouts. Who here likes to take a pre-workout drink? Okay, a lot of people I know probably do. Okay, and I'm okay with pre-workouts. There's just a few things that you have to look for. Okay, they don't break a fast unless they have various amino acids in them. Amino acids are broken down chunks of protein, essentially. That involves digestion, but more importantly, it triggers an insulin response, particularly leucine. So look at your pre-workout and see if it says branched chain amino acids or see if it says leucine. If it says leucine or L-leucine in there, it's not going to be fasting friendly. Does that make it a bad pre-workout? No, not at all. They put it in there as an anti-catabolic so people don't lose muscle. You're not going to lose muscle when you're fasting if you are taking proper precautions and doing things right, unless you're doing extreme fasting and constantly putting yourself in a serious deficit. So don't worry about that. That technically breaks a fast. The things that you can have arginine, you can have citrulline malate, you can have beta-alanine, all these things that are in pre-workouts. I usually recommend just making your own. I usually take a little bit of black coffee, or cold brew. I take like a cold brew, 100, 150 milligrams of caffeine, mix a couple hundred milligrams beta-alanine, a couple hundred milligrams of citrulline malate. You're good to go. Okay, that's pretty straightforward and a really good little thermogenic / pre-workout that will not break a fast. BCAAs is next in the list. Does break a fast, which I already covered. Glutamine is a tremendous one, but you want it after your fast. Okay, it directly fuels some of the cells within your gut, and it does help the IgA immune response in your gut, which directly builds the gut mucosal layer, which breaks down during a fast. So glutamine is great during a fast, but it is not good, great after a fast, but not good during a fast because it's going to affect the atrophy of the gut layer that naturally is supposed to occur. I talk about the gut layer breaking down during a fast like it's a bad thing all the time, but it's actually supposed to happen so that it can rebuild stronger and better, okay? Glutamine is going to cut that positive effect, okay? It's gonna make it so it doesn't need to do that as much. And lastly, the one that I wanna talk about today is toothpaste. Does toothpaste break a fast? Yes and no, okay? Once again, look at what's in your toothpaste. Okay. Usually there's xylitol, and xylitol is okay. A lot of times there's natural flavors. You have to do the best that you can to not swallow your toothpaste. I'm not saying that you should, not take care of your teeth when you're fasting, but if you're talking about a 16-hour fast, you're better off to just eat your dinner, brush your teeth right after dinner, and start your fast then. And then when you break your fast, the end of 16 hours or 18 hours, and you eat your break fast meal, then brush your teeth. I mean, it's really not, you don't have to brush your teeth. I shouldn't say that. You should brush your teeth even if you're not eating, but if you're only skipping breakfast, you're just delaying brushing your teeth, and you shouldn't be fasting every single day anyway. But again, it's so negligible. You have to factor in like what your bone density is. Are your teeth really porous? Are you more prone to cavities? Do you have really solid teeth and you've never had a cavity? It does play a role. So I hate to be able to say that, but you should definitely still brush your teeth. If you're doing a 5-day fast, I would probably not want to hang around you if you hadn't brushed your teeth in 5 days. That's just me. Okay. So it all depends on what you're after. There's various toothpastes out there that are still good. And I mean, just because I don't want to hang out with you doesn't mean that I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah. Someone actually says, do brush without paste. You can totally brush without paste. In fact, you could even use baking soda, which still is going to at least get you somewhat of an effect. So you could totally do that. Yeah. And someone, Aviva, you say that insulin would probably fall back down within the hour. You're probably right. It's like, eat your pre-fast meal, brush your teeth, and you're good to go. Also, guys, don't forget, if you just hopped on here, check out the Zero app too. I put a lot of content on that app. It's not my app, but they're an app that is like a fasting timer, and they have a pretty cool version with like myself and Peter Attia, who is a well-known medical doctor in the fasting world, really cool guy. We've done a lot of content for them within that app. But anyway, it's a free app either way. And there's upgrades and stuff if you want that. But point is, I did link out to them down below. You can check out the Zero app. Ralph, you asked about lemon. I already covered that one. Would Coffee Mate affect fasting? Yes, it would. A lot of these ones that are coming in are ones that I have covered. Okay, so I'll just roll through them again, and I'm going to give you a quick yes or no for those of you that are on this without the explanation. Okay, so some of you might get a little bit upset if you're just hopping on here. Okay, black coffee does not break a fast. Black tea does not break a fast. Green tea absolutely is great for a fast. Herbal tea, generally no, but sometimes yes. Bulletproof coffee absolutely breaks a fast. Bone broth absolutely breaks a fast. Vegetable broth, question mark. Okay, usually it's more like just a stock, so you're probably okay. Diet soda with aspartame, like Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, does not break a fast, but is not good to drink during a fast. Gum, for all intents and purposes, pretty much breaks a fast. Breath mints, yes, breaks a fast. Spices, cinnamon, cayenne pepper, things like that are good to go. Herbs, abstain. Okay, tobacco, yes, metabolically breaks a fast. Smoking, not as much. Ingesting it, definitely. Vitamin C, yes, breaks a fast. Fish oil, yes, breaks a fast. Magnesium, no. Potassium, no. Salt, very beneficial. Yes, very good for a fast. Does not break it. Stevia does not break it. Monk fruit does not break. Allulose does break it. Erythritol does break it. Sucralose does break it. Fat burners, if they're in a pill, usually not. Adaptogens like ashwagandha, things like that, no, do not break a fast. Heavy cream does not break a fast, does break a fast. Coconut oil, yes, breaks a fast. MCT, yes, breaks a fast. Exogenous ketones, yes, breaks a fast. However, will keep you satiated. So if it helps you get through a fast, then go for it. Flavor extracts, generally no. Natural flavors, generally more often than not, yes, but a lot of times no too. You have to contact because there's 150 different variations. Flavored coffees, generally yes, but if you get organic ones, then no. Apple cider vinegar does not break a fast. Lemon juice does not break a fast. Collagen does break a fast. Powdered creamers do break a fast. Coffee Mate does break a fast. Pre-workout does not break a fast unless it has BCAAs in it or has leucine in it or other aminos. Glutamine does break a fast. It's better afterwards. And toothpaste is the big question mark that we ended on. All right. People are asking about medications. I'm not a doctor, so I have to be very careful commenting there. Levothyroxine, things like that, generally don't break a fast. You're okay to take those. Probiotics, someone's asked a few times. Probiotics do not break a fast unless they're in a liquid soft gel form. But really, you probably don't want to take them during a fast because your gut is going through a pretty natural selection process anyway. So Another one that came up, baby aspirin, things like that, allergy medications. No, you're usually okay. I mean, if you can do without it, do without it. You should have a lessened inflammatory response. You're going to have more of an immune response after you break your fast with allergies and stuff, so you might want to just allocate it to that anyway. Cacao does break a fast, yes. Well, I don't know if you hear that. It sounds like Tommy's awake from his nap, which has happened just perfect timing, everybody. So I better hop off. This has worked out great. Anyhow, guys, don't forget to check out Thrive Market. Don't forget to check out the Zero app. And yeah, thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video. And don't forget to please turn on those notifications. That way you can see whenever I post a new video, which is very, very important. All right. You guys are awesome. And I will see you all soon.